Joining me, the former chairman of the RNC, the man, the myth, Michael Steele. He's also the host of the Michael Steele podcast and an MSNBC political analyst. Michael, what a pleasure, all on my end. Thank you for joining us. There was some talk about this potentially being the last public hearing. Liz Cheney put that to rest. She said this is going to be a thing that we pick up in September. Let's take a listen to that.
Doors have opened, new subpoenas have been issued, and the dam has begun to break. And now, even as we conduct our 9th hearing, we have considerably more to do. We have far more evidence to share with the American people and more to gather. So our committee will spend August pursuing emerging information on multiple fronts before convening further hearings this September.
The dam has begun to break. I think it's a reference to the fact that witnesses are coming forward, more information is being unearthed in this investigation. My question for you, though, is that's an investigative track. Do you think the dam is going to break in the terms of the political track, in terms of Trump's hold on the Republican Party? As Philip said, it looks a little bit more tenuous because of what's happened by this committee.
Yeah, well, first of all, let me say, you know, Stein and Steele first thing on a Saturday morning is a dangerous combination, America. So just get ready. I'm just saying.
I think they're ready.
I think they're ready. Yeah, you know, I think the dam is beginning to break. At least there's some leaks in the wall. There's some serious cracks with some leaks. Republicans have been actually strategically put on the defensive by the way Liz Cheney has positioned this commission and the committee and the work that they're doing. Number one. Number two, there's recriminations, as you know, Sam, from your reporting inside the caucus for a failure to actually put Republicans on the committee to present that counter narrative. So, you know, McCarthy's taking his hits on that. So there are clear political holes that have been opened up by the work of this committee because the American people are taking it seriously. They don't see it as a form of political hackery. They don't see it as, oh, a witch hunt. Now, the hard Trump base, yeah, there's nothing you can say to them to make them believe anything other than what Trump has told them to believe. But the reality of it is that's not America. So the problem Republicans have is the rest of us are actually tuned in, dialed into this conversation, very disturbed by what we're hearing and seeing, very enamored of the young women, especially, who are stood up. And I love the way Liz put that, you know, these 50, 60, 70-year-old men coming down hard on these women for telling the truth. Again, furthers that political narrative that these guys are just punks and the real Americans are the ones who are starting to come forward. So there is more to come. And I wouldn't be surprised, Sam, to Phil's point, I guess, if the hearing says, look, we're going to be meeting every other week between now and January. We're going to have a hearing every other week live to get the rest of this story out, knowing what the political end game potentially could be if they lose the House.
Right. Well, let me push back. Maybe not push back, but let me ask for your thoughts on this. My take is, yeah, Trump's been damaged by this. I think people in the Republican Party are, you know, they just don't want the drama anymore. But I think the people who've actually been really damaged by it are those who've been sort of second-tier characters in this whole committee drama. And by that, I mean Kevin McCarthy, for instance, who has been exposed as, you know, deeply concerned in the moment and then willing to go to Mar-a-Lago the next day or the next week. And then, of course, Josh Hawley, who infamously the iconic image of the fist up in the air cheering on the protesters and then running away. It's those people who I think are going to suffer the most damage more damage compared to Trump. Curious for your thoughts on that.
Well, we'll see what damage Trump ultimately suffers. I mean, you know, the Hollies of the world aren't necessarily caught up in legal wranglings with, you know, potential problems with the Department of Justice. Trump is. Trump is under investigation in Georgia and, you know, New York. So Trump has got a whole different set of problems. I wouldn't put them together. That I agree that there's a difference
Right.
What it means when the Hawleys of the world get excoriated the way they did. I mean, I've never seen such a beautifully and well done political emasculation of a United States senator than what particularly with someone who likes to talk about manhood. Well, there you go. See him scatter like a little, you know. But anyway, those folks, they're going to be living in a different space anyway. They're only behaving the way they're behaving because of Trump. If the Trump piece does get taken down a notch or two, watch those pillars of salt crumble, and the reality then becomes very different in the House.
Then let me get your last quick thoughts on the direction of the party, which this is ultimately about. You know, we have yesterday Trump and Pence holding dueling rallies in Arizona for rival GOP candidates for governor. It's a preview, in essence, of what's going to be the central argument of the primary. Pence's message is summed up by this quote, this tweet that he puts out. It says, if the Republican Party allows itself to become consumed by yesterday's grievances, we will lose. And yesterday could be literally the hearing, but I mean, he basically is saying yesterday is in, you know, January 6th. And here's Trump from yesterday, consumed by yesterday's grievances.
I ran twice, I won twice, and did much better the second time than I did the first, getting millions more votes in 2020 than we got in 2016. And likewise, getting more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country by far. And now, we may have to do it again.
Clearly a man not chastened by this all. Mike, what do you think about all of this?
Real quick, Trump is a fool living in the past. The Republican Party is foolish because it has no future. It has no platform. It has no direction. It has nothing to say to the country except for give us power, and then we may tell you what we're going to do. That's the bottom line right now for this GOP. They've got a problem going into the fall. They know it. They're trying to play off on the numbers that they think they can win. We'll see.
All right, Michael Steele, what a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it.